Why, hello and welcome everybody. It is Pohx again. So today we're going to be talking about the class Witch that I've been playing for a couple days, about a week since I've gotten back. I'm going to talk about kind of like my build, but this is majority going to be, like the beginning part of this is going to be an introduction to the class Witch, and then later on in the video I'll go into kind of a little bit of a rotation in my build, not stating it's the best by any means since I'm still experimenting with the class itself. But first off, just a short introduction to the Witch. If you go ahead and look at the Ascension Atlas, which is located on the far right, which is all the way over here, which will take you about 3 weeks to unlock from your basic Cryomancer, Paladin, and Lightbinder setup. Let me go ahead and actually turn some audio on here really fast. Music volume. Oops. Okay, that's kind of nice music, right? Alright, so that's the first thing. The next thing is, the Witch is, I'll call it like an advanced class. It's much more complicated than the normal classes, and the reason why is you have two stances that you have to swap between. Now, if you swap incorrectly, you literally can't do anything. Meaning, if you mess up your Curse stance and you swap to Extermination Stance, you can't do anything. If you stay in Curse stance, then you're not doing any damage. So it kind of goes both ways. So the moral of the story of how the Witch class works and what it is it's a damage over time class that has very good single target, very good area of effect, very, very, very good CC. Is wanted in group play because of their ultimate skill, which is Volatile Curse. And yeah, they're just overall good. The one downside of the Witch is, again, it is complicated to play. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be doing 1/10 of the damage you should be doing. Furthermore, you don't have an oh shit button like, holy crap, save me, let me pop my shield and become invulnerable. The only defensive setup you have on your Witch is two things. You got an insane dash, which reduces damage by 80%, which is, it's very hard to time when you're going to die because of the way animations work in this game. If a target casts a spell or an attack, it already hits you before the animation actually went flying. And then your second one is called Ninth Life, which when the Witch's health drops below 25%, she becomes invulnerable for 10 seconds. This might seem really good, but there's two problems with this. One, if you're tanking or something, and you pop this and you're in a group, you immediately drop all threat when you're invulnerable. The second thing is, if you're at 26% life and a mob hits you for 26% of your life, the passive will not go off and you'll just die. So those are the two problems, and it has a 4-minute cooldown. So anyway, let's go ahead and kind of talk about how this works. So your Curse stance is your stance where you apply all of your damage over time. So you basically use Taint, then you spread it with Epidemic, which is your left and right click. Then you can choose to use whatever else you want. If you want to go for a more defensive setup, you got things like Aging, which we'll talk about here shortly. Your second stance is called Extermination Stance, and Extermination Stance is the boom boom damage stance. So basically, you explode your damage over time, whether it be a single target explosion or an area of effect explosion, and you've got additional skills as well. If you look at the bar, you can see some of the skills will swap. So first off, I'm going to read off the skills. I'm going to read off the first couple ones, and then I'm going to read off the skills here, and then I'm going to show you guys. So in Curse Stance, or first we'll talk about these 8 skills right here. Envoys of Taint is basically a it'll like slowly start building up while you're in combat, and then you can click the button and it'll start releasing the crows. You can attack with auto attacks, whatever you want while this is going. So it's like a channeling skill that you don't have to channel. Black Panthers is more for PvP. You basically click it, it shoots out panthers, and they'll find their targets and stun them. One other thing to note about Envoys of Taint is it costs no I don't know what you want to call it, resource. We'll call it resource. Next up, you have Witchfire and Ring of Fire. Ring of Fire is a smaller version of a Cryomancer's, large AoE called Whiteout, but this one does a lot of damage, just like the other one. The only problem is this takes a lot of resource, and it has a 1-minute 30-second cooldown. If you look down below, Witchfire, Witchfire is basically a frontal cone. I guess it's like a frontal like square push. And it does really good damage because it activates your impulse, and it's instant. You just boom, and it has a 12-second cooldown. Next up, you have Black Cats, where Black Cats basically you can select on the floor and you can drop it, and when you drop it, anything that enters the area gets stunned. It's very good utility. Or you have Volatile Curse, which is taken in 10-man party, like basically raids and up, or even some 5-mans. Or essentially what this is it puts a shield on a boss, and you have to time cooldowns perfectly with your party in a 5-man to be able to break it. If the shield is broken, it'll knock a boss down like 30% of its life. It's pretty nuts how much it does. Then you have Transformation, which is also primarily for PvP, maybe in raiding when you want to start CCing, which is just basically a hex. And then you have Bewitch, which is it's an insane charm, which is an insane crowd control. There's actually a talent for it. It's a 4-second charm, and it can go to 8 seconds with enchantment. So it's pretty nuts. So next up, we're going to talk about skills that are just given to you naturally as a witch. So staying in Curse Stance, you've got Taint, which is your regular debuff. You've got Epidemic, which is the one that spreads your taint. You've got Murder of Crows, which basically sends your weapon out and deals a pretty good amount of damage. The only problem is it costs a ton of resource, and it has a 20-second cooldown. But it's not bad at all. It's pretty good. Then you've got Aging, which basically is a really cool slow. It's kind of like Nasus' slow if you guys have played League of Legends. And if you age a target, you can spread it with Epidemic and hit the whole screen with mobs with Aging, which is really nice. Dark Ritual is your way of healing magic. It's basically your mana. And we talked about these. Next up is Evil Eye, which just decreases the damage dealt by a target. It's pretty good. I would say, again, this is mainly for PvP. There's not really too much of a use on it. I guess on rares, you could go Evil Eye with False Rumors and spread it like Epidemic, and that would be nice. But for me, I don't really have a need for that because I usually kill most targets. And then you have your ultimate, which basically opens up a portal in front of your face, and crows just start like shooting out. And then you've got your finisher, which is Proven Remedy. In Extermination Stance, you've got 5 skills that change. Your left click, which used to be your damage over time, now turns into an auto attack, and as long as you have stacks of taint on the target, you can actually auto attack them with Killer Crows. Next up, you have Explosion of Darkness, which will remove all your stacks of taint and will deal a set amount of damage that you can see right upon the skill right here. Then you have Extermination, which is equivalent of Explosion of Darkness, except it hits every target that has taint rather than one. So it deals less single target, but much more for area of effect. It is one good thing to note that these both activate impulse charges, and when you use either of these two, you will immediately be swapped back into your first stance, which is your Curse Stance. Next up, we have 2 more abilities. Living Helper, which is one skill that I like to use. It's kind of hard to figure out the rotation, where it's basically the same thing as Murder of Crows, except you cannot auto attack while you're doing it. Although it takes a lot less mana than Murder of Crows. It takes about 200. It doesn't say it, but it takes it over time. And then we have Witchfire, which is one of my favorite abilities, which basically just shoots out a wave in front of you and hits every target. I'll talk about my talents later on, but I guess I'll just go into them. I'll go into them briefly right now, just so you guys can see them. Family Broom makes it so Living Helper and Voice of Taint deals increased damage, which is basically you send out the crows. Plague Wind makes it so Epidemic spreads for 10 seconds instead of 5, which is the duration of your taint. So it's like 10 or 12. Sudden Death makes it so Explosion of Darkness deals additional damage if its health is below 50%, which is Explosion of Darkness, which is your right click. Art of Killing makes it so Killer Crows take no mana, which is your left click in Extermination Stance. Flying Broom is the witch's like super awesome dash. Terrifying Swarm makes it so when I use Epidemic, anything that gets hit by it gets feared for 2.5 seconds, which is enough for me to kill most white mobs. Then we've got Ninth Life, which when you're below 25% life, you get a 10-second invuln. And Bird Apocalypse, which makes it so all damage over time from Taint is increased by a large sum. Damage from Extermination and Explosion of Darkness is also increased. So let's get in and actually show the skills now. Alright, so we're going to start off with Taint and Epidemic. So we've got Taints into Epidemic. You can see the targets are feared running around, and they're pretty much dead. So moving on to a more offensive approach, we're going to do Taint. 1, 2, 3. We're going to swap stances, and I'm going to use Explosion of Darkness when he's at about a 50% life. That would be Explosion of Darkness. Next up, we're going to do the other one, which is the AoE. So 1, 2, 3, spread, which only hit these, and then we'll explode it, which was there. Again, we'll do 1, 2, 3, spread, and they'll die from the fear. So one of my favorite combos, which I'll try to use on someone that's more tanky. So this guy's pretty tanky here, which is basically you stack 3 stacks of Taint, and then you spread it with Epidemic, and then you swap stances, and you're gonna use your, I think it's called Witchfire, and then Explosion of Darkness. So we'll try it out on this guy right here. So 1, 2, 3, spread, swap, and we're gonna move in. I'm gonna wait for him to get to about halfway, and we're just gonna double combo, which I can't show you how much damage it did. Oh wait, I think he dodged it actually because he went up in the air. Yeah, okay, that was a bad representation because he kind of got a little PJ Salt. Let's see if we can wait for him to spawn again. Alright, good. Let's try it again. So 1, 2, 3, spread. Alright, here we go. Let's try it again. Okay, that did not work again because he dodged it. Alright, this is a terrible place to try to show it. But it does a good amount of damage. I can burst anywhere from, I'd say, 30 to 112k. It's really spiky on how much damage it deals. Now, just to show you guys an example of aging, which I'll show you guys really fast. We're gonna go ahead and go 1, 2, 3. And you can see all the targets are, well, you might not look like it, but they're much slower than they would be. And then Black Panther, which is the, I think it's called Black Panther, is the stun. You can just put it wherever you want, and we'll aggro a target. And you'll see when he walks through, he'll have a stun on his face. Okay, he doesn't want to walk through, he's being anal. The training room sucks to try to show you guys. So, I'm gonna go ahead and run a dungeon for you guys. Something equivalent to my area. And you guys can see how you like the character. So, I'm stacking the same thing as my Cryomancer. I am full strength and full luck. For the most part. Oh, I thought they just said new. Okay. I still have a long way to go with my character. Since I am like 2 to 3 weeks behind because I stopped and I had to go visit my parents and whatnot, so that was kind of unfortunate. I should be like 33k prestige. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and run. I need that you want to load here. Come on now. Okay. Let's see what's on holy text. Facility 902. Portnari. Here's a Portnari we can run. Now this is on my difficulty, matched to my prestige, which is 22k basically, 23k. That's a good example right here. Alright. Alright, so here we go, we're gonna start. I messed it up there because I couldn't properly spread because I didn't get to lock on, but it's okay. I should probably switch my trophies here. Just make sure we're on proper trophies. No, we are not. So normally I would die here, but because of my invon, dying doesn't really work out very well. So I'm just gonna pull everything to the boss and we'll see how that works out. Again, there's the utility of fear coming in at how insane it is. Oh well, there's my invon anyway, rip. And this would be the burst, so I'll try to show you guys really fast here. So that was okay, that was like 20k, it wasn't that much. I need more accuracy to properly start scaling it. Gonna drop our charm here. Get some resource back, and we're gonna try to do our AoE pop right here. Now the reason why I'm taking so much damage is I came into this boss fight at like almost no health, and on top of that I kind of pulled the elites from the other pack into the boss room as well. And again, Witch does not have any type of shielding, so I do play pretty Rambo, as you guys would know normally from my playstyle. Oops, that was the wrong button. Alright, so this would be Living Helper as well. You can see the damage of it. It's pretty nice as well. And I'm gonna do the burst combo here. Boom, boom. I couldn't even do it, she died too fast. Now, once I get my rating gear too, this will be a substantial increase on damage since I don't have a Founder's Weapon for a Witch. I'm just using a blue weapon. And here's an example of the ulti as well if you guys want to see it. It's pretty nice. It's not like an insane amount of damage, but it's really good utility for when, you know, mobs just spread out. Like, I don't know, because mobs like to spread out. So for here, we're just going to spread off the boss, and the ads will die by themselves. We'll focus the boss again. Yeah, I pretty much desperately need more accuracy because the damage range on Witch is like... First off, the damage range in general on characters in this game is like out of this world. And then on top of that, you have damage range on your skills. So there will be times where I'll hit for 9k, and there's times I'll hit for 50k. So it's pretty absurd. Like that, there you go, 41k crit. So it's like, it goes all over the place with the damage ranges. I think my highest crit has been like 87,000, and my lowest has been like 9k non-crit. So it's like all over the place. So accuracy is definitely really favored on a Witch, and that's what I'm kind of gearing towards right now. But I do need to get into the higher end, I guess higher levels before I can start getting proper gear. So what I'm using now for my gear is I've got Taint inflicts 22% more damage. This can be swapped with Living Helper. I haven't really decided which one I want to use yet, but that's one option. Next, I've got Dark Ritual, reduces damage by 60%. I like it because when you have to get dark, like when you need mana, you have to hit Dark Ritual. You don't have a choice, and you're standing still for that. So this is one way to mitigate damage. My trophy, or sorry, my amulets are kind of just right now Living Helper, and I don't really know what else. They're kind of just all over the place at the moment. I haven't really decided what to do with them yet. And trophies are the same: Strength, Luck, Accuracy, Strength, Luck, Accuracy. Strength, Luck, Crit on this one, which I'll drop for Accuracy soon. Strength, Luck, Accuracy, Crit. Or, sorry, Health. And that's pretty much the character. So, I like it. It's pretty fun. It's definitely a different playstyle than the other characters that I've played. Just moving over to my chapels really fast as well, since I know people are going to ask. We've got Accuracy, Accuracy, Crushing Blow, Blank, Blank, Crit, and Crushing Blow. Which now I'm kind of wish I dropped the crit and went into another accuracy roll, but it's okay. They're both fine. And one last thing, because I know this was a request from people on the live stream, I'm going to zoom out this atlas so you guys can see what I did, because I saved about near 1,000 class sparks for the way that I chose it. So I'm just going to show you guys the way, and you can choose, you know, how you want to do it, because you don't have to actually max out everything. You just have to pick up all of the actual notables themselves. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And, you know, I hope to see you guys on my live stream at twitch.tv/Pohx. So I hope you guys have a wonderful time. Enjoy yourselves, everybody.